Welcome to AI-deas, the deep dive series under the Good Business podcast. We're proudly hosted by the PHINMA-DLSU Center for Business and Society, really embodying their mission of business as a force for good.
And today's deep dive is pretty interesting because it was actually generated using artificial intelligence through Notebook LM. It helped us sort of sift through the source material.
That's right. And we're unpacking a really insightful article today from the Good Business column for Rappler. It's titled, Across the Table with the World's Brightest. Now, you know how we often think about innovation? That kind of lone genius, the sudden eureka moment, that light bulb flashing on.
Yeah, it's a classic image.
Exactly. It's a compelling story. But what if that whole dramatic, solitary spark thing is maybe a myth? What if real innovation, the kind that lasts, actually grows best in a totally different kind of place?
And that's precisely what this article gets into so well. It takes us inside a big global innovation competition, L'Oréal Brandstorm 2025. And it shows how our thinking, how we work together, even how we lead. It's not just tested there. It feels like it's fundamentally reshaped by the whole environment.
Okay, so let's really dig into this then. We're all, familiar with that movie version of The Inventor, right?
Yeah.
Scribbling on a napkin, boom, breakthrough idea.
Right. Makes it feel almost magical. Solitary.
Yeah. But the article challenges that straight away, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. What's really fascinating is how it just cuts through that romantic idea. It says, anyone who's built something worth keeping knows the truth. Ideas don't thrive in a vacuum.
Right. They need more.
Exactly. They need frameworks, they need support, they need people and systems that push them from potential to reality. So the first big thing is innovation isn't just a lone genius spark, it's about the whole environment.
A cultivated environment. I like that.
Yeah, deliberate cultivation, not just waiting for lightning to strike.
So this idea of deliberate cultivation, where does the article show us this happening? Is it tied to that Brandstorm event?
Precisely. And that's why L'Oréal Brandstorm 2025 works so well as a case study here. On the surface, it looks like another competition, right? Pitch your idea.
Sure.
But the article frames it as something much deeper. A deliberately designed environment for growth. It's not just about showing off ideas. It's about actually building the capacity for innovation in the people there.
A key to understanding that growth are the people we follow in the article, Team Future Face. They weren't just three smart people thrown together. The article stresses their strength came from, deliberate diversity. It says, 3 of us, each fluent in a different language of creation, each different by design and stronger for it. That says a lot about collaboration, doesn't it?
It really does. And it gets specific about their roles, which paints a great picture of, how these different skills work together.
Okay, like what?
Well, you had Scott Lee-Honsey. He brought the momentum vision forward, relentlessly imaginative, sort of seeing opportunity where things were ambiguous.
The ideas guy.
Kind of, yeah. Then Vincent Pierce was about precision translating concepts into clean form, bringing both aesthetics and technical know-how, making sure it all held up.
Got it, the builder.
And then the author filled the role of articulation, ensuring every detail connected, resonated, giving shape to instinct, making sure the whole story landed powerfully.
So vision, precision, articulation, a powerful mix.
Exactly. It shows how having those different viewpoints and defined roles really boosts the whole team's intelligence.
And this team, Future Face, they built something really interesting. Muscle Glow, a post-gym skincare wipe. But more than that, aimed at creating a whole new category, performance skincare.
Yeah, not just a wipe. It was cooling, hydrating, had UV protection, and even subtly enhanced muscle definition. It sounded like a pretty big idea for skincare.
Definitely seems like a leap.
And it was clever strategically. The article calls it a Trojan horse for self-care, designed specifically for men right after their workout.
Okay. Meeting them where they are.
Exactly. How do you get a group that maybe doesn't think much about skincare interested? You fit it into their existing routine. The goal was to expand how they saw self-care, tackling those stubbornly low adoption rates in men's skincare by reframing care as effortless, familiar, and stigma-free.
Hiding a new behavior in an old one. Smart.
Very smart. It addresses a real market gap, but in a really subtle way.
And it worked. They won the UK and Ireland national final, picked from 4,394 participants and 167 pitches?
Huge pool, yeah.
That's a massive validation, not just a win, shows their diverse approach paid off.
And then moving to the global finals in Paris, This is where the article goes even deeper, I think.
Okay.
It stresses that L'Oréal hadn't just put on a show. They'd built an ecosystem, an environment that asked for more than just slick pitches. It really pushed people to sharpen their instincts, collaborate better, and just meet the weight of the room.
The weight of the room. I like that phrase. It implies pressure, expectation.
Definitely. It wasn't just about presenting. It was about, transforming internally somehow.
And a massive part of that transformation, the article says, was the mentors. But they weren't just giving answers.
No, exactly. The article says they challenged us toward better ones.
Challenged towards better ones. That's different, isn't it? How does that foster real growth?
Well, it's about making the teams own the solution, digging deeper. The article highlights two key mentors who really nailed this. First, Alberta Abi-Mason, described as the wings.
Okay.
She asked questions that stayed with you. She wasn't after the quick fix. She pushed for deeper thinking, making them unpack their assumptions, really get to the why behind the idea.
So less what's the answer and more why is this the question?
Exactly. That forces a much more fundamental look at things.
Wow. So she built their thinking capacity, not just their pitch deck.
Precisely. And then you had Theo Algar, described as the spine.
The spine, okay.
He was the rallying point when things got tough. Lifted spirits, boosted confidence, brought energy. He helped sharpen their message, sure, but crucially, he gave them the conviction to deliver it. We all kind of need a Theo sometimes.
Absolutely. Especially under pressure. So these mentors, they weren't adding polish, they were adding substance.
That's it. The article says they prepared them for the rooms that shape careers, where every idea is challenged, where clarity is power, and where well-built thinking speaks louder than any visual ever could.
That's a lesson that goes way beyond just one competition. That's career-building stuff.
Totally crucial. And they needed that preparation for the global stage itself. The article mentions teams from 242,000 registrants globally.
Wow, that's huge.
And each team brought their own unique ways of thinking shaped by their own cultures, disciplines, and ambitions. Imagine that mix. You had teams seeing beauty as a collective act. Amazing storytellers, engineers taking things apart.
A real collision of perspectives.
Less a competition, more like a global snapshot of different ways to think.
And it sounds like that sheer diversity forced a shift in perspective for the team. You'd think you'd just compare yourself constantly, right? Are we as good?
Yeah, that's the instinct.
But the article describes something else happening. You stop comparing and start listening. The questions become sharper. What do they see that we don't? What do we bring that no one else can? Why is moving from comparison to curiosity so important for innovation?
Well, comparison often just leads to trying to copy others or feeling inadequate. Curiosity, though, that opens you up.
Opens you up how?
To seeing things you missed, understanding different angles, finding where your unique contribution lies. You stop measuring and start learning. That's where real breakthroughs can happen, in that open-minded space.
Makes perfect sense. And the article points out the most valuable stuff wasn't even always on the main stage.
Right. It was in the corridors with professionals from L'Oréal's global network who didn't speak to us as students, but as peers.
Treated like equals.
Exactly. Those collisions with different perspectives were the real work of Brandstorm. It involved, awkward debates, seeing the generosity of competitors, even that disorienting necessary act of having your idea taken apart by someone who sees the world differently.
Sounds intense. But yeah, incredibly valuable for making an idea stronger.
It's where theory meets reality, isn't it? It's easy to love your idea in isolation. Having it stress-tested by different minds is how it gets truly robust.
Which leads us to a really critical point the article makes, kind of a wake-up call. Why most companies miss the point entirely.
Yeah, that's a bold statement.
It is, but it rings true when you read the reasoning.
It does. The article argues that most corporations treat engaging with students very transactionally.
How so?
Like it's just a PR exercise or an idea mining operation, basically extracting ideas without investing in the people behind them. It's kind of a shallow approach looking for quick wins.
Right, just taking the ideas, not building the innovators.
Exactly. And that's where Brandstorm stood out, according to the article. It refuses the theater. It's not just a showcase. Instead, it builds an ecosystem that forces you to rise to the standard of the room. It's about pulling people up, not just picking their brains.
Elevation, not extraction. I like that.
Precisely. Brandstorm seems to get what many miss. Ideas aren't born fully formed and don't survive on inspiration alone. They need shaping.
By mentors.
by mentors who push back, by environments that test you, by feedback that's actually sharp enough to make a difference. And doing that builds capacity, not just for better ideas, but for the people capable of carrying them into the world.
It's investing in the people, the human capital, forging the future innovators themselves.
That's the long game.
And that kind of deep investment leads to what the article calls the lessons that outlast the stage. The author says even without winning the whole thing, they left with something harder to measure and far more enduring. Clarity.
Clarity, the big takeaway.
What kind of clarity are we talking about?
It sounds like deep self-awareness. The article says it was clarity about how we think, about how we work, about the kind of people we want to be in the rooms that matter. Not just presenters of ideas, but collaborators, leaders, and thinkers willing to be stretched.
Knowing yourself under pressure, basically.
Yeah.
Forged in that intense experience.
Yeah. It reinforces that Brandstorm was never about winning. It was about becoming. It built resilience, humility, curiosity, and that courage to hold your ground when it counts.
These aren't just competition skills, are they? They're life skills, career skills.
Absolutely fundamental. And the article offers this really profound thought near the end, kind of reframing failure. It says, almost isn't failure, it's the threshold.
The threshold.
Yeah. The place where doubt sharpens instinct, where vision finds focus, where the most honest work begins to take root. It suggests that growth really happens right there on that edge.
So wrapping this up, what this deep dive really shows, drawing from the article, is that real innovation isn't that solo eureka moment.
Definitely not.
It's more like a collective forging. It happens in those demanding rooms, the ones that push for humility, for curiosity, for being willing to let your ideas be challenged, maybe even rebuilt.
It's messy, it's collaborative, and yeah, that seems to be where the real progress happens.
And maybe, just maybe, in a world so focused on being seen, on quick results, the final thought from the article is powerful. Perhaps the most radical thing you can do is move with purpose, even when no one's watching. Because that's often where the deep, lasting work gets done.
A great thought to reflect on. Are we seeking out those environments that truly challenge us?
Yeah. Are we looking for those demanding rooms in our own lives? Rooms that push us to become better thinkers, better collaborators? Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Across the Table with the World's Brightest. We hope you'll explore more from AI-deas under the Good Business Podcast by the PHINMA-DLSU Center for Business and Society.
It's been a great discussion.
And we'll leave you with this quote from the source material. Great ideas aren't found, they're built. Built in rooms that require your best and give you the courage to deliver it.